Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Anime King 3. And today I'm going to be giving you part 2 of What If Naruto Got the Karma Seal from our rogue Otsutsuki. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Stole All Konoha, Jutsus and Secrets, and ran away, guys. And enjoy that over on Anime King 2. And remember, if you're new, yes, I indeed have 4 channels which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead, click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. So yeah, without further ado, I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace. So, the last spot we left off, Naruto Namikaze was a young child who was 6 years old. Well, he had just turned 6 years old tonight. He had 2 sisters, all of them being the daughters and son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. However, unlike his sister, his body was failing. Naruto has been in the hospital around 50 times since he was born, and given that he was just 6 years old, that was pretty bad. On the night of Kushina Uzumaki giving birth, she gave birth to 2 healthy babies, and one that was not really healthy. His name was Naruto. They had to seal the fox. It was Hiruzen Sarutobi who used his life to seal the Kyuubi inside of Mito and Natsume. As Minato was able to gather the surrounding chakra, seeing that it was so much of it, and seal it back in his wife, he didn't know if it would help her or save her life, but he was hoping on it. That night had been a stressful one, and not to mention his son was already in a critical condition, just from being born. He thought that he was going to lose him. Minato was having a stressful night. Everything was so tense. However, his wife was able to pull out of it. After a couple months of rehabilitation, she was able to be back on her feet. As she saw her son though, Naruto was born in a weakened state. His body was somehow affected by the Kyuubi's toxic chakra that damaged him from reaching his full potential. For a child that was 6 years old, he looked malnourished and weak. And that did not say that he was not eating after all. They fed him well, but it was just that his body was not strong enough. But despite that, his family loved him greatly. However, Naruto did not like himself. He come to hate himself over time because he caused his family so much misery. He saw their faces every time he was sent to the hospital, every time they thought that he was going to die. He put them through a state of panic and chaos, and that was not something that he wanted to cause them anymore. So he was going to run away. He knew that they would hurt for a while, but he knew that he would die soon. The doctors already told his mother and father when they thought that he wasn't awake. Yes, he would die very soon, and he didn't want to cause them that pain, seeing that he had caused them so much already, so he decided to just go. He knew that he wouldn't make it too far after all. He was not in a condition to survive by himself, but it was better than making the people that he loved suffer. As Naruto pretending like he was asleep, when his sister, Natsume, came in and she kissed him on the forehead, wishing him a good night despite him already being sleeping. His sisters loved him greatly. Sometime later, Mito came in and she placed a present on his nightstand, wanting her present to be the first that he opened. Naruto ended up opening it as he saw that it was a locket, with the 3 of them on one side, and his mother and father on the other side. Naruto felt like he didn't bother want to go through it. However, it made him realize that they would be even more saddened when the time does come, so he decided to go through with his plan. As he gathered his stuff, his mother and father came to check on him once the party was over, seeing him asleep. As they left, Naruto had everything planned out. He's been planning this for months now. As tonight was the only night that he could leave because of the birthday party, and after it was over, they lacked insecurity. As Naruto made a big move, climbing through the window and crawling under several gardens that led towards a forest in the backyard. The forest that led towards the open area of the side of the road. Naruto waited as he was right on time. He rolled in the road as there was a carriage that came over. Naruto held on to it as best he could, however, he fell off. The people stopped as they came to see what made that noise, but Naruto already rolled off into the distance. With that, he started to walk. Soon after, Naruto became extremely exhausted, as he was tired where he was, but he got away, as he looked down towards the locket once again. It was at that time that Kushina went up to use the bathroom. Once she got up, and she decided to go check on her boy once she was finished, to make sure that he was sleeping well. However, what she saw frightened her. The note that Naruto left behind, apologizing, telling them to not put his defection on their head that much. Tell them to live their life and be happy. She screamed out loud, causing Minato to awaken and the twins as well. They rushed outside as fast as possible. The two girls came in as they read the letter, as Naruto apologized so much in the letter, telling them how sorry he was, and he would never be able to forgive himself, but he just wanted them to be happy. Both girls started to cry as they broke down. On the other hand, Kushina had blasted throughout the village, using her sensor ability to try and find Naruto anywhere. She was still in her gown, as she did not care. As for Naruto, he saw something in the sky which he thought was a star, but it came down towards him and exploded. Naruto was blasted as his back was impaled on a tree, causing him to bleed heavily. Because of his weakened body, he was unable to sustain much damage, as he was already losing life. That is when he saw an individual who collapsed on their knees, bleeding badly. The both of them ended up reaching out towards each other as their hands touched. The person's body went up in a form of light or chakra and went into Naruto's hand, giving him a pointed star in his hand. As Naruto fell off the cliff, Minato was able to arrive and stop Kushina from crossing the border, as he could not let anyone know that his son was missing. The amount of people that would try to use his son as leverage against him. The amount of people that would kill his son just to see him suffer. He could not let them know. That is when the envoys found something. The sight terrified the man and woman as they saw the blood, as they saw the locket as well. Kushina, remembering that she was the one that actually helped Mito, got the locket, break down in tears, as Minato, despite knowing that he should be strong, knowing that he was a Hokage, could not even cast his tears away as they fell from his eyes, as he cried, holding on to his wife. Kakashi felt his heart twist at the sight of the couple that was like family to him. Sometime later, Yujito, Darui, and C was returning back from a mission of exterminating a slave trafficking ring that was trying to build up in line of lightning and was trying to impose and steal innocent people. They were able to get rid of the man after a few months of this long-term mission. They were now back. That is when they came across a boy lying in a puddle of water, as he was just lying there, the river not being strong enough to pull him off, but he seemed like he was dragged from a far distance. It was Naruto, but now his hair was completely white, no longer showing that blonde like Minato. It was completely white. His eyes were now a bit of grey. They were dull before because of his sickness, but all the color seemed to just vanish, showing greyness. It seemed like it was blind if you did not focus too well. He was unconscious, so they brought him back to the village after a bit of thinking about it. Arriving back towards the village, they informed the Raikage about this. That is when they felt the extraordinary amount of power. Rushing towards the hospital, they brought the boy back. The Raikage saw something strange. When Naruto woke up, the only thing that he remembered was his name. He took a quick liking to Yujito as he moved towards her side when she told him that everything was going to be alright, as she promised. Inside of Naruto though, there was a sleeping woman with long white hair that was fast asleep, as she seemed like she wouldn't wake up for some time. Her body seemed like it was restoring itself. So yeah guys, basically let's left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it for yourself. So this we jump right into this new episode. Begin now guys. Natsume Namikaze panted as she stood in the back of her home. She was glistening with sweat, exhausted as she dropped her butt. She was in a black combat uniform that she used for training. Her hair was tied up in a ponytail going down her back. She was glistening with sweat as she was on the ground panting as she glanced towards the heavens. She fell on her back as she looked up to the sky. It's been 4 years. 4 years since that tragic event where her brother went missing. Many people believe that he's dead, But she did not believe so. She didn't know why, but she felt in her heart that he was out there somewhere, alive, despite all the evidence against that. Her mother and father were able to break the news to them on what they had actually found, after the girls had constantly asked over and over why was they so sure that he was dead. When they were told, they were at a loss. Mito had rushed back to the room as she searched, as she found it under his bed, the wrapping that she used to wrap the locket that she had for him, the locket that was left at the scene. However, Natsume still did not believe. She had no idea why, but she believed that he was out there somewhere, as she lay on her back looking up at the heavens. She was now 10 years old. The first year had been hard, terribly so. It had been traumatic on all of them. Not seeing him, not going to wake him up, not helping him cut up his food sometime. She missed that. She missed her baby brother, despite her being the same age with him. He was her baby brother to her, and she missed him greatly. But she did not believe that he was actually dead. As she was saying, the past year was horrible, the first year. It was horrible on all of them. However, it got them to be closer. The family was closer than ever as they all pulled together. Her mother and father also seemed to get even closer, as everyone had been mourning the death, which she still did not believe, of Naruto. The result of her mother and father spending so much time together after that first year. At the end of that first year, it was announced that Kushina was pregnant. At first, Natsume was angry. She was furious. Were they trying to replace Naruto? It took her a couple of months, and after Minato and Kushina saw her behavior, they were able to sit her down and talk to her, which they told her that they could never ever replace Naruto. They did not even change his room. Her mother went in there a few times and changed his sheets, but they left it so, with the photos inside, the frames, the pictures, everything of him, as a place that they went to sit and just talk to themselves. Not like they were crazy or anything, but just to relax. The room was like a comforting place. They didn't know why, but that is what it just turned into. Sometimes she went in there and talked to him, despite him no longer being in there. It just seemed fun. But she knew to separate reality from what was not there as well. Her mother had made sure that she knew that. That she had to live her life, yes. The pain was unbearable, but that didn't mean that she could stop living. She had gotten over her anger for this new baby, and realized that it was a blessing as well. Her new baby brother, who was now 2 years old, his name was Menma Namikaze. At first, when she heard that he was going to be a boy, she was terrified. She could know that her mother was terrified as well. Fear of the past, it just stuck with her. However, he was born a beautiful, healthy baby boy. There was no incident. And she loved him so much. But it doesn't matter how much she loved him, she could never forget Naruto, as she knew that he was out there somewhere alive. And she would train and get stronger until the day that she saw him again. She had 2 years left before she graduated out of the academy. She would have graduated a lot earlier, but after the incident with the Uchiha clan, they were no longer allowing students to graduate early. Everyone had to go through the full year of the academy. However, she didn't mind. Her friends were there. Her sister was there as well, so she did not mind. Meanwhile, at the Namikaze household, inside, Kushina was looking towards her little baby. He was 2 years old now, already getting so much bigger. The thing was, he looked just like Naruto. It was crazy how much he looked like him. He also had blonde hair, like his father. Blue eyes that were so deep. They looked like an expanding ocean. His little pudgy cheeks, his complexion, everything about him reminded her of Naruto. But she knew that she could not compare them. She loved Naruto Namikaze with all her heart, and she will forever love him. She, for a long while, in the year, if she was alone, if she didn't have her family, she was afraid that she would have broken down and never recover. However, her, Minato, and her 2 girls spent so much time together. Minato even took some time away from the office. Shigaku was happy to take over. Despite how lazy the man was, he knew that he could not handle the pain of losing his only son. Thus, he was more than happy to take over as reigning Hokage until Minato was able to return. It took some while, and escalation skyrocketed with the Uchihas. But it was something that Minato couldn't even stop. The Uchihas were all slaughtered by Itachi Uchiha, leaving only one, and that was Sasuke Uchiha. His brother had only left him alive, and massacred the rest of the clan, leaving Sasuke alone. However, Kushina was best friends with Mikoto. They were like sisters, so she would not allow Sasuke to be on his own no matter what. She would help him, and she had over the past 4 years. Despite her own anguish, she had made sure to spend some time with Uchiha as well, helping him. After all, he was still just a child. However, she was blessed with this wonderful baby boy, Menma Namikaze, who she loved so much. It was just a shame that he would never get to meet his older brother. That always saddened her, but she would always keep Naruto in her heart. No matter what, her being distracted caused Menma to knock away the food that she was feeding him, as it all dashed away on her. As he started to laugh, As messed up as she was, with the food all over her, she started to laugh as well. It was good to laugh. She's been sad for an extremely long while, that she never knew that her son was suffering so much. Naruto loved them all so much that he was willing to spare them the pain by running away. That eventually cost him his life, and that was something that she just couldn't forgive herself for. She wasn't able to see that. As much time has passed, she just couldn't forgive herself for not seeing how much he was also suffering from seeing them suffering. With the way he loved them, she just could not forgive herself for that. She just couldn't. Meanwhile, Mito Namikaze dropped down to the ground, as a sword that was in her hand exploded into splinters. It was a wooden blade. She looked up towards her sensei, not official but her teacher, for the time being. Are you ever gonna teach me how you did that? I mean, it just shattered once you were finished. The art of blade work is nothing but impeccable. However, you have to reach a certain level to do certain things in the art of Kinjutsu. Will I ever reach that level? Her teacher simply chuckled to herself, looking down towards her. Yes, and perhaps sooner than you might think. Your continuous growth has impressed me time and time again, so I have no doubt in a couple of years you'll be able to wield the blade just like how you wield your own fist and feet, said Yujiro as she looked down towards her. Yujiro Otsutsuki, now captain of an Anbu squad. She was a former student of Kushina Uzumaki, taught by Kushina herself with the blade. Seeing that her mother was busy with a new baby, Mito had sought help elsewhere. While both girls might look alike, Mito and Natsume was nothing similar in personality. Mito more to take after her mother, in her temper, also with Kinjutsu as well. However, Natsume more take after Minato. She preferred to fight with short-range weapons, like kunais, shurikens, and she also had a knack for speed as well. Both of the girls were blossoming quite expertly in the different arts, showing the polar opposite that they were despite their looks looking so similar. Yujiro had offered to show her a few things here and there. That was 2 months ago. She was still using a wooden sword, Yujiro saying that she would tell her when she was ready to move on to an actual blade. Well, she was just 10 years old, and she was already getting great. Yujiro wanted to make sure that she knew all the safety procedures and not just rush into anything. Her temper and attitude was greatly similar to her sensei Kushina, and she knew her sensei quite well. That is why she had yet to pass on the actual blade to her, having her focus on the fundamentals and understand everything about Kinjutsu practically before going on to physically. The family had suffered a great loss, but she could see that they were pulling through it, and that made her happy. As for the final member of this family, Minato sat in his chair. He should have seen it coming. The Uchiha clan had been acting cagey. However, he thought he could solve things. He thought that Fukaku would come to him. However, Fukaku listened to the advice of his counsel and made a move that caused the downfall of the entire Uchiha clan. Minato knew Itachi personally. He knew what kind of boy Itachi was. He knew why Itachi did what he did. Granted, he had not spoken to Itachi because Itachi feared the perhaps disappointment that he would see. Minato would pass on to him, on doing this without actually talking to him first. However, Minato had an idea that Danzo was also involved in this, but he had no proof, none at all. Perhaps Itachi and Danzo had struck a deal. Before the whole ordeal had happened, Shisui Uchiha had been taken out. Things had been bad on his part, given the fact that he was out of commission, as he was helping his family recover. Well, not much recover, but try to understand and live with the fact that Naruto was now gone. And he had placed Shikaku as temporary Hokage, and things had went bad. Not under Shikaku watch, this was a long time brewing, but he wished he could have done something about it and stop it. Now Sasuke had to grow up without his mother and father, something that he did not wanted. As Itachi had labeled himself as one of Konoha most heinous traitors ever to exist, taking all the blame. He was now gone, as he's been gone for a long while now. He gave Jiraiya information to track him down, but Jiraiya wasn't able to dig up anything at all, wherever he was. Everything must be so much on his young mind. As Minato felt greatly saddened about that, he wished he could have been able to do something, stop this before it happened. At least, both him and his wife are making sure that Sasuke come out of this better, and not drive himself into a slope that he would not be able to recover from. As for him, he had loved his son. He had loved his son greatly. He loved his son with all his might, and knowing that he was gone put a damper on himself. He had read that letter about 1,000 times. He never noticed that Naruto was actually suffering when they were suffering. He knew how much the boy loved and cared for them. However, he never knew that he would go that far. And now he missed him, tucking him into bed, telling him good night. Despite his drawbacks, Naruto always tried to be a strong person for them, while it was affecting him greatly, and Minato blamed himself for not seeing it. He had a new son now. But despite that, he would never forget about his boy Naruto. He would always remain in his heart, and for that, Naruto's bedroom had become a monument for all of them to visit every now and then, to just to sit down and speak. He just wished that Menma was able to be there to know his older brother. But now that will never happen. After all, after seeing all the evidence, he doubts that his son had made it. From what they were able to find out, he probably got struck by whatever happened. To this day, they did not know what happened to make that crater. However, Naruto was blown into the tree. The bark had pierced right through as there was some flesh on it. Naruto's body being tremendously weak, and he ended up falling off the cliff and fell into the water. They had tried to follow the water stream, but there was nothing to be found, nothing at all. And the stream ran all the way into a gigantic lake that spread out into different regions of the elemental nation. So he did not even know where his son's body was, that he could bury him. That was something that deeply saddened him. He glanced up towards the heavens, wherever his son might be in the afterlife. He just hoped that he was happy, Minato thought. Meanwhile, at Kumo, I can't explain it. A doctor who was wearing glasses. He had grey hair that was short and stubby. He was of average height, as he was in a doctor coat with a grey shirt underneath and brown pants. He was looking towards Raikage as the both of them were in a room. In front of them was a table. On said table were several documents, several scans that were done on a human body. The Raikage stood there. What exactly do you mean that you can't explain it? The doctor spoke up. The first year that he was here, you had me done the test on him at the final of the year, to see how much his body has developed. Seeing that we started to run tests on him a few days after he was situated within Kumo. However, at that time his body was developing slowly. But in the past 3 years, from that, his bone density has somehow lightened. You would think that would make them easy to break, but that seemed to be different in his case. From a medical standpoint, this shouldn't even be humanly possible, but somehow his bones have gotten lightened to the degree that they are still fully functional, but they have gotten so lighter to increase speed and mobility. At the same time, the toughness of them, the density, has increased to a proportional level in just 3 years. And they seem to be still increasing, given the scan I run last week and the one I had done on him this week. The doctor said as he pointed towards 2 scans. One was of last week and the other one was this week. And you're saying that this is not medically possible, Raikage asks. Yes, by all means. Something like this should never happen. Which is what is concerning, but yet, his body is developing. From what I can see, it's almost like his body was unable to mature for a very long time. And there is some sort of agent in his body that is pushing him to a maximum degree on each day, forcing his body to mature, seeing that it was not able to do so in the past. Thus, his body is developing now in a way that it shouldn't have. And because of this new agent that we have still yet to isolate, it is allowing him to grow strength and speed and moving through him at a rapid rate. Does this harm him in any way? The Raikage asks. No, it is the complete opposite. It is like his body is going through thousands of years of evolution right in front of our eyes. A normal human, even a human at their peak, not even you, is increasing this fast. So I believe that in a few years, with the amount of speed and strength that is gathered by his limbs increasing and reducing to move faster, there's no telling how strong or faster he will become, because this evolution inside of him is not stopping. And you have no idea what is causing this, the Raikage said. Absolutely none. We have tried to go over everything, but all the tests come out inconclusive. It almost feels like there is something lying dormant inside of him. However, whatever it is, it itself is trying to change. However, because of the both of their combination, it is also changing his body as well. Or maybe change is not the correct word to use. It is trying to regain. Regain, the Raikage said. Yes, because this evolution is quickly speeding up the process of him getting stronger and faster. Whatever this unknown agent is, if it's something that is trying to grow in size, strength, I'm not sure what, but it also evolving him as well. And it seems like the own latent abilities of the boy are also evolving. Latent abilities? Yes. Something I discovered this morning after running the second test. As I said, it seems like his abilities were stagnant for a long while, but now they're coming out. An extreme healing that seemed to have yet to reach its peak. I believe at its peak, it would dwarf a tail beast regeneration. What? The Raikage said in shock. Yes, at the rate that it's going. He also seemed to possess a bloodline, but I'm not sure what exactly it is. Like I said, all of this seemed foreign, like it's not even from this world. Although, this can be some severe experimentation that was done on this child, given the fact that he was found washed up near the river. I believe someone was trying to make this child extremely powerful. Perhaps he somehow escaped and lost his memories in the process. Or maybe what they did to him erased his memories. The only thing that he knows is his name. Maybe that subconscious stayed with him as he tried to remember himself, but the rest was erased. The Raikage had a thinking look on his face as he stood there, looking over the files. It has been 4 years now. The first year Naruto did not show that much growth. The Raikage thought that maybe he had overestimated the boy. However, the boy had then started to increase rapidly in strength and speed that shouldn't be possible at such a young age. Yujito was the one that the boy saw as a guardian. Since the first time when she told him that everything was going to be alright, he stuck to her. Yujito's parents were killed when she was very younger. Her mother was pregnant with a child. Said child was never been able to born. Yujito had taken quite nicely to Naruto, given that she was one of his most loyal kunoichis. Her being the Jinchuriki of the two tails, he allowed her to take in Naruto. as she wanted to take on that responsibility. She cared for him very much in just a span of a couple of weeks of knowing him. She was able to create and form a bond with him that surprised even the Raikage. Thus he allowed her to take him in. Raikage was able to witness something after a scene. Naruto showed his own special skills in the arts of, well, physical aptitude. After allowing him to join the academy here, the boy had shown incredible strength, speed that was something shouldn't be possible for his age, outclassing everyone in his class when he was just 7 years old. The Raikage had the doctor run a test on him every 2 months to see the developments. At the end of the year, the big development came, but at the end of this year, the boy seemed to have skyrocketed in his growth. He was still just a mystery. The Raikage had kept him a secret away from everyone. That was everyone outside of the village. He didn't want any other nations coming after him, or anyone that actually know the boy coming for him. But so far, the Raikage has done his own search near said lake that spanned out towards the hidden stone as well. If the boy came from one of those villages, it would either be the hidden stone, Konoha, or the land of rice field. Thus, he had made sure to have a deep check on those areas, not directly going into the nations, but so far there has not been any search. So that led him to believe that wherever this boy came from, whoever had him under their control was not looking for him. Thus, that was a good thing on his part. The boy was now his, and becoming a wonderful asset to Kumo. In 2 years, he will be out of the academy and able to join a team. The Raikage could see him skyrocketing. For one thing he was glad for, he was glad that the bond he formed with his new friends and also Yujitowa's family allow him to make connections here that will force him to stay here even if he regains his memories. Those bonds was something that he could not just release, seeing that they found him when he was 6 years old. He figured that whoever was his family before that, he would not feel so connected to them than how he was connected to these people after a few more years. As Raikage was counting on that. Meanwhile, that was taking place up in the mountain area of Kumo. Despite the fact that he should be at school at the moment, he was not. In fact, he had someone with him. Her arms were wrapped around him rather tightly, as she was hanging off his back, as he was using both of his arms to climb up the mountain. This seemed to be a rather frightening task to do, but neither of them were afraid. As he pulled himself up, pulling her up in the situation as well, seeing that she was on his back. Once he was able to pull the both of them up, they stood on top of the massive view as she got on her feet. "Wow, you are right. It is amazing," she said, looking down towards the castrating village down below. The place was extremely foggy all the way up here. The sight was immaculate though as he were able to glance down. Everything seemed so well crafted, the houses in the side of the mountains, as they were able to see all the way down there. His sight was a lot better than hers though. A boy stood there. He had white hair that went down into his back, 2 bangs that went down the side of his face. He was dressed in a black t-shirt that held onto him rather tightly, almost showing off glimpses of his upper torso that seemed to be not right for a 10-year-old, because there was a good amount of muscle there. He was wearing a grey shorts that stopped right at his knees, showing off some gigantic calf, to show that he had the leg movement down, as he was wearing sandals. His silver eyes glanced down towards the area down below. There he was, Naruto, a resident and citizen of Kumo. The past few years, especially the first year, had been hard for him. The first year was hard, not knowing exactly who he was, what was his purpose, where he came from. However, his big sister was able to help him a lot when she had taken him in. For him to permanently become her younger brother, it was the happiest day of his life. And then he started to make friends. She was the reason why he had this friend beside him now. He had made so much friends. People just seemed to gravitate towards him and like him for some reason, as he was told on several occasions that he was a likable person. And he also liked his friends as well. They were all so nice, especially the girls. A lot of them always brought him candy and brought him things. However, when they do, and he hugs some of them, they end up passing out. At first he was worried, wondering if he did something incredibly bad to them. However, his big sister told him that the girls liked him, so much as some of them passed out. Naruto was rather surprised by that. Now he understands why they always brought him candy. However, he didn't want them to feel too bad. His big sister told him what it meant to like someone. But he could only like one person, right? What if he liked one of them the others? They would feel upset because he did not pick them. So he didn't want them to feel bad and didn't know what to do. At first he thought he could use that powerful technique to emit lightning and turn said lightning into a clone of yourself. It was a lightning clone to make each of them go to one of the girls, but his sister told him that he couldn't do that. He just wanted all of them to be happy because they were always nice to him, bringing him things. Today, though he was skipping class, the academy had become rather boring. He knew that his sister would be upset. She always wanted him to go and learn the fundamentals, this and that, despite him already being so much stronger and faster. But she was always on his case. But today, though, he had promised his friend to show her a wonderful sight. His friend being none other than Samui. Samui was a real close friend of his. She had short, blonde hair, beautiful blue eyes. She was 3 years older than him. She was 13 years old. She idolized his sister down to everything. His sister was her biggest idol, and she wanted to be just like his sister. As Naruto couldn't blame her, his sister was awesome. That is how he had met Samui, when she had came over to speak to his sister. Samui was now on a genuine team, as his sister showed her a few pointers here and there. But Samui was cool. She didn't have any problems with him skipping school and showing her the sight. The both of them hang out a lot. Every time he was with Samui though, the other girls in the class seemed to be rather upset, as his sister told him that they were jealous. However, Samui loved to tease people. Despite her calm nature, she had a rather teasing thing about her. Whenever the girls always looked at her with jealousy, she would grab his head and hug him rather tightly. Despite being only 13, Naruto could feel her boobies, and that made him a bit embarrassed. And he didn't want to say anything to embarrass her, but she was doing it on purpose, so maybe he should tell her sometimes. However, it kinda felt nice, so he decided to just keep his mouth shut. Samui was one of the few people that know how strong he was. That is why she didn't have any complaints for him carrying her all the way up here by her, holding on to him and him climbing up the mountain. In a physical standpoint, Naruto was stronger than the kids in his class, in speed as well, and not to mention he was able to take in information at an amazing rate. The only downside is, he needed to learn how to fully control all of these amazing gifts that he had. If he was able to do that, Big Sis told him that he would be the most splendid shinobi to ever walk the elemental nation, something that he was greatly happy for. But he would make her proud. Yes, he would make her proud no matter what. He would become the greatest shinobi. You know, said Samui, your sister would probably kill the both of us if she find out that you skipped school in order to bring me up here, somewhere so dangerous, risking both you and I's safety. Yep, said Naruto, but it's not like she's gonna find out. I mean, we're the only ones that know, and we're not gonna tell her, said Naruto. He heard a giggle as he turned towards her. What's so funny? Naruto asks. Well, I was thinking, in order to earn good points with your sister, for her to become a permanent mentor of mine, I could just tell her bad things that you do, in order to make her look at me with a better light. Wait. Let me get this straight. You're gonna tell her on me, because you want her to become your permanent mentor, said Naruto. You're gonna tell her that I brought you here to show you a sight that you found amazing. Yep, basically, she said. Naruto started to laugh, which confused her a bit, as she was joking though, but she wondered why he was laughing. And what's so funny? She asked him. Well, it's brave of you to threaten me up a very high place like this where I brought you, said Naruto. She understood what he was implying. You wouldn't dare, she said to him. Oh, I would. Seeing that you want to get me in trouble, said Naruto. I really would. As he stepped forward, she started to back away. Oh, come on now, she said, raising her hands. I was just kidding. You know that. Yeah, but you still implied it, said Naruto. That means, if things were different, you might have told her, said Naruto. As she looked behind her to see the long drop. Oh, what are you doing, she said. Are you gonna kill me? Discard my body so I cannot tell on you? Maybe, said Naruto as he rushed forward. Naruto, stop, she yelled. But he did not as he grabbed her and jumped off. Her eyes widened in mid-ear. She opened her mouth as she screamed. Her calm, collected attitude going through the window as she screamed. The both of them went diving from the sky. Her hand came up as she started to punch him on the head. Save us, you idiot, she yelled to him. As Naruto chuckled, ignoring her little punches. He reached his hand out. As he pulled it back, with enough strength, Naruto was able to slam his hand into the wall. The thing broke as Naruto's fingers got through and gripped on rather tightly. However, she was still punching him as she ended up hitting his arm, allowing Naruto's hand to loosen on her clothing, making her slip out of his grasp. She started to fall. Her eyes went wide in shock. Naruto twisted in mid-air as he placed his foot on the wall. He then shot off so fast that the wall cracked. Blasting through the sky, Naruto grabbed her as he was able to reach her in time. He pushed his hand out as he slammed his hand into the wall. The entire thing came tearing down as Naruto applied chakra, slowing down their descent. Slowly but surely, she was still screaming on top of her lungs as she dropped on her butt. Her scream still echoing through the large valley. You're safe, said Naruto, as she slowly decreased her scream before looking around. I'm really sorry, Samui, said Naruto. I didn't intend to drop you, it was just a slap. She slapped him across the face. You jerk! How could you drop me, she said. You were punching me. Why the hell did you jump off in the first place? You could have gotten the both of us killed. I was just... But I knew I could save you. And yet you dropped me, she yelled at him. As she raised her fist, I would beat the living crap out of you right now if it wasn't so... fun. Naruto blinked. What? It was amazing, she said. Despite my screaming, I felt like I was flying. And besides, I knew that he would save me. So I wasn't that worried, she said. But that rush, I felt like I was flying through the sky. You were falling to your death, you know that, right? Said Naruto. Yeah, but the rush, the excitement, that's unlike anything I ever felt before. My missions as a genin are not what I thought they would be. But this, flying from top of a mountain, that was just awesome. You know, I never really noticed before, but you're a really weird girl, said Naruto. Hey, if you had fun, why did you slap me? That's for throwing me off a goddamn mountain, she yelled. But you had fun, said Naruto. Still, you did throw me off a mountain, so I guess we're equal, she said to him. Fine, fine, said Naruto as he held his hand out, picking her up off the ground. So if it was that fun, you won't do it again, he asked. Hell no, are you crazy? But I thought, yes, I said it was fun, but I was terrified. I was literally about to pee myself. So no, I'm not doing that again, she said. Ever. Yes, it was fun, but I was scared. Now let me see your hands. You want to see my hands? I saw the trench that you dug in the wall, let me see your hands. Naruto held out his hands. I still don't understand how you function, she said, as there was no wounds on his hand, just a few dirt marks and a few bruises, but no wounds despite him literally shoving his hand in the wall, breaking it with an obscene amount of force. I guess I just have tough bones, said Naruto. You're more than that, she said. You're special. I guess I am, said Naruto. I mean, Big Sis does tell me a lot. So, how's your training going, she asked as both of them start to walk. Pretty good, said Naruto. Big Sis is still able to keep my ass, but she said I'm getting faster and stronger as well. Well, what do you expect? The great Yujito to lose to someone like you. I mean, I know you're strong, but she's amazing. You know, if I didn't know better, I would say that you're in love with my big sister. Maybe I am, said Samui. Wait, what? Said Naruto, as she kept on walking. Look, I was just She turned around to see that he was not following her, so she was about to tell him that she was kidding until Naruto gripped his left arm with his right as he started to wince in pain What's wrong? She said, rushing towards him. As Naruto dropped to his knees. Naruto! Naruto! She noticed a star in his hand start to glow. It was glowing green. What's wrong? Naruto, she yelled. However, he collapsed. Unconscious. Naruto blinked. What the hell? He said, looking around. Utterly confused what was going on. A moment he was talking to someone, next moment he felt pain in his arm. Like something had reacted inside of his body. And he was now in here. Wherever here might be. Everything was foggy. He could not see the ground, he could not see the ceiling. However, there was a strange light that illuminated the entire place. A green light. As Naruto followed it. Hello! 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 His voice echoed. Is there anyone here? Anyone here? Anyone here? As Naruto wondered where he was. Was he kidnapped or something? This doesn't make sense. He passed out. So where could he be? That is when he heard something. Like a low moan. Naruto rushed toward the sound when he came up on the light. The light was basking around a woman. A woman that he's never seen before. She had immaculate, flowing white hair. Similar to his. There were two round dots on her forehead. That were near to her eyebrows. They seemed round and grayish. They were not her eyebrows because he could see her eyebrows. She had a cute little nose and small lips. Her body was cloaked in a gray, creamy color dress. He wasn't sure. Said dress had red up at the top. And it had red at the bottom of the sleeve. And red at the bottom of the flowing feet. That seemed to outline the dress completely. There were strange markings like a circle with a... It looked like a 9. But a very small 9. The end was small. And curving a bit too much. He wasn't sure what they were. Her hands were hidden, but Naruto could see that the dress was just too big. Her feet was covered by a strange white slipper that wrapped around her legs that went up. Naruto wasn't sure what was going on as he walked over towards the woman. Hello there? Are you okay? Naruto asked. Hey! Hey! Wake up! Naruto yelled. Seeing that she was not waking up, Naruto walked over towards her and sat down, right in front of her. As he started to poke her on the head and the nose. That was when she started once again. She slapped away his hand. Leave me alone, she said as she rolled over. She then paused, her eyes snapping open. She jumped to her feet and spun, her hand outstretched to strike Naruto in the face. Naruto pulled back instantly as her hand struck the area where he once was. Who are you? She said. Where am I? As she snapped her head around. I'm not sure, said Naruto. You take me for a fool. Now answer me. Where is this place? And who are you? She said. I said I'm not sure. She rushed forward as she outstretched her palm. However, as she reached to slam Naruto, Naruto ducked, surprising her. She turned on her heel as she lashed out a brutal kick. However, Naruto rolled out of the way. Hang on, lady, said Naruto. I'm not your enemy. Then tell me where I am, she said. I don't know, Naruto yelled. Alright, fine, she said. I will force the information out of you then. Her body started to glow. That is when Naruto looked at her eyes. Her eyes were green. Full and green. Brightly green. Her eyes started to glow an ominous green. Her body started to take on a shade of more green wrapping around her. It seems like chakra, but far stronger. Naruto started to step back, worrying about the outcome of this battle as he prepared himself. However, suddenly, all the power vanished as she dropped to her knees. She gripped her chest as she started to howl in pain. As Naruto felt sorry for her despite her just about to attack him. What's wrong? Said Naruto. How can I help? All the pain vanished, just as it came. What was that? She said, panting for breath. I don't know. She looked at him as she backed away from him. You did that to me, didn't you? What sort of trickery was that? How can a simple child bring me down so easily? Don't say you don't know, she said. But I don't. I was just walking with my friend one moment and next moment, I'm here. Here where? You tell me, said Naruto. She started to look around as she kept her eye on him. That is when Naruto moved his arm, allowing her to see the star in his palm. She was upon him in a second before she grabbed his hand. Hey, said Naruto, as she started to examine his hand. How could this be, she said. No. When did I? It came back to her like a train. She remembered everything. That night, she was dying. She knew that she would die. It was only a matter of time after what she had been through. However, she saw someone. They seemed to be wounded, but that will be a better way for her to use them as a vessel. But something bad happened. Maybe she was too weak. Maybe she was in a state that she wasn't able to properly download her consciousness into this boy. And his body somehow fight back. And they collided. She entered him, but instead of her taking over, she was placed into a deep sleep. How long have I been sleeping, she said. Lady, I don't even know who you are. Who I am? What do you mean you don't know who I am? Aren't you the child that I placed the karma on? The karma? What's that? You seriously don't know what I'm talking about? I have no clue. She looked at him. She could tell he was not lying. He seemed clueless. Don't you remember that night? You were bleeding. There was a hole right in you. I saw it with my very eyes. My brain does not forget information that easily. You were dying and so was I. Thus, I placed the karma on you and we merge. I was dying? How could you have forgotten that? It was such a big moment. Does your life come to a constant end on several occasions for you to forget? No, it's just... You see, well, 4 years ago, I have no memories past that. Except for my name, Naruto. I see, she said. In your human years, it is 4. Human years? That must be when I merged with you. It must have destroyed your memories of the past. But you held on to something, your name. What are you talking about? She turned towards him. All you need to know is, I have inhabited your body to take it over. What? Said Naruto, backing away. Be at ease, child, she said. Something went wrong. You put me to sleep, and thus the process was not able to be completed. And I was forced to lie dormant while you drag on my power. And now, I cannot even break free from these shackles. Shackles? Where? It's a metaphor, you idiot, she said. Hey, you don't have to be so harsh, said Naruto. And why mustn't I be harsh? I am stuck in an idiotic child. And I'm not sure how to free myself. And with my body being destroyed, if you were to die, I will die as well. She said frustratingly, as she looked around in rage. Look, I don't know what is, just leave me be, she said. I do not wish to talk to you right now. Somehow she held her hand up and Naruto was blasted out. Naruto blinked as he was being carried. What's going on? Somehow he spun around. Naruto? As Naruto climbed off her back. Where am I? Said Naruto, looking around. You passed out. As Naruto realized that they weren't that far. When? A few seconds ago. I'm glad you're awake, she said. I was so worried. What happened? Naruto's eyes widened. There's an alien inside of me, he said. What? Time skip. Yujito was looking towards her younger brother. As Naruto had become very treasured and dear to her over the past few years, she loved him, greatly so, as a younger sibling. And now she was worried for him. The doctor was trying his best. Him and several members of the analysis department tried to understand the mark. However, just like the years before, they failed. The Raikage was there as well. So you're telling me that you met a woman in some sort of mental escape that you possess, and she told you that she was here to inhabit your body and take it over, and the thing on your arm is known as the karma. Yeah, said Naruto. So what about that then? What is that? As Naruto now had a mark on his chest. A faded green mark. The Raikage remember a few years ago, it was blue but now it was suddenly green. If that was true, maybe this entity inside of him had awakened. However, the mark was now dull. It was not showing anything. It did not go up towards his eye. It seemed inactivated. It just circulated towards his chest, and the star in his hand was still there. The mark in his chest seemed to be curved and twist like a diamond, but it was tilted to represent some kind of strange angle. She was upset with me being there. She said that she cannot take over my body, so she can't harm you. No, she said that she messed up and that I was dying. You were dying? Yeah, maybe it was before I lost my memories. Yeah, it was definitely that. She said I was dying, and she found me. She tried to take over my body thinking that I would not resist, seeing that I was so weak. But something happened. A collision that caused our DNAs or something to get messed up, and now she cannot leave my body. She got so upset she blasted me out of where I was. She was so angry. She said that she could never leave, and she cannot take me over. So she got upset. The Raikage turned towards the members of the analytic department. They shook their heads, including the doctor. They had nothing. Time skip. Naruto was now back home. Yujito lived in a 2-story house, which was also Naruto's home as well. There was 3 rooms at the top. This house had belonged to her parents after she had lost them when she was younger. A home that she had lived in by herself for a very long while. Except for her friends, she didn't really have anyone that she would come home to visit. Having Naruto now was something that she very much enjoyed. I am fine, said Naruto, as Yujito had become rather protective. More than usual, now knowing that he might be in danger. Remember what the woman said, she cannot take over my body. And we should trust her. Why? Asked Yujito. Well, I guess you're right, said Naruto. But still, she failed to even harm me inside of the space that we were in. So I doubt that she would be a problem, said Naruto. And it's not like I'm gonna let anyone take over my body. I'm Naruto, your younger brother. And I won't let anyone separate us. She smiled hearing that, as she came over and pet him on the head. She breathed a sigh of relief. I'm just worried. I know, said Naruto as he leaned into her touch. But I'll be fine, I promise. You believe in me, right? She pinched his cheek. Ow, said Naruto. Of course I do, she said. But get some rest. You've had a long day. Alright, said Naruto as he crawled up into bed. Good night, she said. Good night, said Naruto. She left his room after a while. It might seem strange that she would adopt someone when she was so young, but there was just something that connected the both of them. In a family type way that she hadn't felt in a long time. And she wanted to protect him. He was so alone, confused. That is why she took over as his guardian. And she was going to make sure that he was safe. It doesn't matter what she had to do. Time skip. 2 years later. The only reason why Naruto had not graduated early was because the Raikage wanted to make sure that everything with him was okay. Regarding everything about this new, confusing alien being that he said that was sealed inside of him, and also his strength and speed were up to date regarding his control, seeing that he always had a lack of control. However, now Naruto had a grin on his face as he stood on top of a mountain top. He was dressed in black pants, a grey shirt with a hoodie over it. The hood was not up. Up in the mountain regions were rather cold, but he liked it. He had on black fingerless gloves. There was a blade on his back. There was also beads on his right arm, a grin on his face. It's been 2 years since that mysterious meeting, and that woman has not shown herself once again. He tried to make contact with her, but he was unsuccessful. However, it was best that it stayed that way. After all, he didn't want anyone trying to take over his body, even though she would not be successful. But now, Naruto had a new addition, And that was a Kumo headband that was wrapped around his waist as a belt, making his outfit lock together perfectly. He was now a ninja of Kumo, something that he wanted for so long. Finally, everything was going well. Oh shit, Naruto thought as he fell over to the side, unconscious. Naruto pulled himself up. He glanced towards a woman that he had not seen in 2 years. You know, for someone that said that she doesn't have any way to take over my body, you sure can knock me out whenever you want, can't you? Come here, human, she said. Naruto tilted his head. Is that any way to talk to someone that you're currently inside of? You know that you're using my body as a home, right? I said, come here. There's much that we have to discuss. Really? Like what? As Naruto walked towards her. Meanwhile, at Konoha, bright smiles on their faces. I'm so proud of the both of you. Kushina hugged both of her daughters as their reflected headbands shined back up towards her. She knew it. There was no doubt that they would not become Genins after all. She's trained them personally and they had some heck of a teachers. Congratulations, you guys! The small child made my rush out as he tried to hug the both of them. The both of them smiled, they stooped down and hugged him back. Thank you, little bro, the both of them said as they grinned at each other. They were finally ninjas. They can finally make a career and a name for themselves. In the back of Natsuma's mind, she wanted to go out in the world so she can try and find Naruto herself. She knew it was a long shot, but she just feel like he was somewhere out there, she thought to herself. Kushina looked down towards the three of them. Tears came to her eyes. Oh, she wished that Naruto was here. However, she had to be supported for her two girls right now. They had to understand everything regarding this ninja world. But she was sure that they will do fine. And that made her smile. But guys, to be end this episode right here. If you want the next part, and do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification as they posted. But I'm off and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.